Welcome to today's video on the visitor visa danger zone and the perils of quick re-entry to the United States. First, we will define the common strategy many travelers use and why it leads to intense scrutiny at the border. Next, we will explain the concept of intent, why long stays combined with quick returns raise red flags, and how an extension can actually work against you later. Finally, we will share best practices, examples, and a practical plan to reduce your risk at the port of entry. In this agenda, we will start by clarifying the controversial truth that there is no fixed legal rule for time outside the United States, but that intent governs admissions. Then, we will analyze why long stays combined with quick returns trigger concerns. After that, we will break down the unofficial ratio rule, the extension effect, and the importance of strong foreign ties. We will also look at safer travel timelines, concrete examples, and a documentation checklist. Finally, we will test your understanding with quick quizzes and wrap up with key takeaways. There is no statute or regulation that requires a specific minimum period outside the United States after a long B2 stay. However, admission decisions are made at the border and are based on the traveler's intent. A visitor visa is intended for short, temporary visits. Using repeated long stays to effectively live in the United States suggests immigrant intent and risks denial. This content is educational and does not constitute legal advice. Outcomes at the border are discretionary and fact-specific. Practices and policies can change without notice. For advice tailored to your situation, consult a qualified immigration attorney. We will now examine three main reasons why long stays followed by quick returns raise red flags. First, the unofficial ratio rule. If someone spends around 6 to 7 months in the United States, officers typically expect at least an equal or longer period abroad before the next attempt to enter. Returning after only 5 to 6 months away, especially following a 200-plus day stay, creates an unfavorable ratio and suggests immigrant intent. Second, the extension effect. While a Form I-539 extension approval makes the current stay lawful, it also identifies the traveler as someone who maximizes time in the United States, which invites greater scrutiny in future admissions. Third, weak foreign ties. After being away from the home country for a long period, evidence of employment, property, studies, or family obligations can appear diminished, making a denial of entry more probable if the ties are not convincingly demonstrated. This flowchart illustrates how a CBP officer might assess an arriving visitor. The process begins with the traveler arriving at inspection. The first decision looks at the length of the prior stay. A short stay under roughly 90 days is less concerning, whereas a long stay around 200 or more days is more concerning. Next, the officer considers how long the traveler stayed abroad since the last departure. A short time abroad under 6 months increases risk, while a longer time abroad of 12 or more months reduces risk. The officer then reviews whether the traveler previously obtained an extension. A history of extensions adds to scrutiny. The officer also evaluates the strength of foreign ties, such as employment, property, studies, or family obligations. Finally, the officer weighs the purpose and duration of the new trip. Clear, short, and well-documented purposes help, while vague or extended plans harm credibility. Depending on how these factors combine, the outcomes range from admission as a visitor, to secondary inspection, to refusal or withdrawal of the application for admission, and in some cases visa cancellation. This table provides examples to visualize risk levels. A prior stay of approximately 210 days, with an extension followed by only 3 to 5 months abroad, presents a high-risk scenario due to the poor time ratio and the extension history. The same 210-day stay followed by 12 or more months abroad is still scrutinized, but is relatively safer than the shorter gap. A 180-day stay without an extension, followed by less than 6 months abroad, remains high risk because the return is too quick after a long stay. With Quay. Waiting 12 to 18 months after 180 days improves the ratio and lowers risk, especially with strong documentation. A 90-day stay followed by 3 to 4 months abroad can be moderate risk depending on patterns and ties. Finally, relatively short stays followed by 6 to 12 months abroad are generally lower risk, assuming the traveler maintains strong foreign ties. To reduce risk, first extend the time you spend abroad after any long stay. A target of 12 or more months abroad after approximately 6 to 7 months in the United States is a common best practice. Next, keep your overall pattern such that time spent outside exceeds time spent inside across any 12 to 24-month period. Maintain strong ties to your home country by keeping your job active, staying enrolled in studies, managing property, and fulfilling family obligations. Carry current proof of these ties, such as employment letters, recent pay slips, property documents, school enrollment letters, and your return or onward ticket. Avoid routine use of extensions unless genuinely necessary. Clearly define your next trip with a short, specific purpose and fixed dates. Travel with minimal luggage that aligns with a temporary visit. Finally, be consistent and truthful. Misrepresentations can lead to immediate denial and long-term consequences. Here is a practical checklist for the port of entry. Bring your passport with a valid visa and any proof that demonstrates prior lawful stays and timely departures. Have a return or onward ticket matching the timeframe you state. Obtain an employer letter that confirms your role, approved leave dates, and your expected return date, and include recent pay stubs or bank statements to show financial ability. Provide proof of property ownership or a long-term lease in your home country. And if you study, include enrollment confirmation or exam schedules. If you have family obligations, carry documentation that supports them. Lastly, include a short and specific trip plan, such as hotel bookings, event registrations, and a concise itinerary. On the left are best practices. Keep time spent abroad at least equal to or greater than time spent in the United States after any long visit. Maintain and document strong ties to your home country. Define trip purposes that are short and specific. Travel with belongings consistent with a temporary visit. And be transparent and consistent with prior statements. On the right are pitfalls to avoid. Do not use a B2 visa as a way to live in the United States or treat it like a second home. Do not chain together long stays with quick returns. Do not rely on repeated extensions as a routine strategy. Do not present vague plans or open-ended timelines. And do not misrepresent facts or overstay. This timeline depicts a relatively safer pattern. From January to July in the first year, the traveler spends approximately 210 days in the United States. From August of the first year through August of the second year, the traveler remains abroad for over 12 months, during which they strengthen ties by maintaining employment, renewing a lease, and enrolling in a course. In September through October of the second year, the traveler makes a short visit of about 30 to 45 days for a specific event. From November of the second year through May of the third year, the traveler remains abroad again for more than 6 months. Overall, the time spent outside exceeds the time spent inside, which aligns with a safer risk profile. Here is a concise Markdown-style reference. First, the core principle. The B2 category is for temporary visits, and CBP evaluates intent, not a fixed time requirement. Next, a safer pattern is to keep time spent outside greater than or equal to time spent inside over 12 to 24 months. And after approximately 6 to 7 months in the United States, target at least 12 months abroad. Then, understand the extension impact. An I-539 approval makes that stay lawful but increases scrutiny during a future entry, so you should prepare stronger proof of temporary intent. Finally, assemble an evidence pack that includes an employer letter, pay stubs, property or lease documents, school records, proof of family obligations, a short itinerary, and a return ticket. Quiz time. Question. True or false, United States law requires you to spend at least 6 months outside the United States after a long B2 visit before returning? Option A, true. Option B, false. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is false. There is no fixed legal rule specifying a minimum time outside the United States after a long B2 visit. Instead, CBP assesses intent using the overall travel pattern, the traveler's foreign ties, and the stated purpose and duration of the visit. Second quiz. Question. You spent approximately 205 days in the United States with an approved extension. Then you stayed abroad for 5 months and you attempt to re-enter. What is the likely risk level? Option A, low risk. Pattern looks fine. Option B, moderate risk. Likely okay with minimal questions. Option C, high risk. Poor ratio and flagged by extension. Option D, guaranteed entry. Extension ensures admission. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video.
The correct answer is high risk, poor ratio, and flagged by extension. A long prior stay combined with only 5 months abroad and a history of an extension creates a pattern that commonly triggers high scrutiny and potential denial.
These are the key takeaways. Intent governs decisions, not a fixed time rule. After long stays, wait longer, ideally 12 or more months abroad. Keep time spent outside greater than or equal to time spent inside across 12 to 24 months. Recognize that extensions, while legalizing the stay, increase future scrutiny. Carry strong proof of ties and a short, specific purpose. Finally, be truthful, consistent, and prepared to answer questions at the border.
To summarize, visitor visas are designed for temporary visits rather than de facto residency. Quick re-entries after long stays can imply immigrant intent. A stronger ratio is to remain abroad for 12 or more months, following a 6 to 7 month stay in the United States. Extensions can heighten scrutiny in the future, so prepare robust documentation, plan short, specific visits, and maintain strong ties to your home country.
Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more practical visa and travel insights. Finally, please share your questions and experiences in the comments so we can learn together.